Live from the basement car park at Area 51 and broadcast worldwide in association with leading radio stations via the internet. It's the Elegant Universe. Your hosts abducted from Melbourne, Australia. Here's Peter Gagliardi and Shane Hill.
Welcome and welcome again to the Elegant Universe. This week's show unfortunately doesn't have Shane. Oh, you know, I had to beat him to death because he wouldn't do his lines properly. Anyway, I have a special guest, Shannon Hill.
Hey, how you guys going?
Now, Shannon used to be a host with me on a couple of shows that I've had previously. Welcome back to the radio world, Shannon.
Oh, it's excellent to be here.
And Shannon will be joining me today as I talk about the weird, wacky, strange things in the world, from UFOs, conspiracy theories, and more. Plus, cast your votes for our current mysterious girl exes, because I want to know who you want on the show. We'll be back after this. What I decided to talk about is weird phenomenon in the country, because you're from the country.
I'm from out the bush.
And so am I. Now, I've seen some strange things out in the country, both in the sky and on the land, and even some really, really weird creatures that I later discovered weren't weird at all. Shannon?
Okay, so there's one that pretty much tops the list for me, Peter,
Yep.
and it was actually something that happened when I was a kid, and unlike a lot of the creepy stories people have, it's something that I heard, not actually something that I saw.
Okay.
So basically, a couple of friends and I were walking up to this guy's party. We were going to go there, but we were arriving late, and we didn't want to interrupt or anything, so we were being quiet, and we were just walking up the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in the middle of nowhere, but we heard a train, a steam train.
What?
I heard it, and it was the most terrifying noise I'd ever heard, because it sounded like it was right behind us. We were walking up this guy's driveway, and literally right behind us, steam train noise with the horn and everything.
What?
And both of the friends that were with me heard it.
Yeah?
So I'm not just insane. There was a steam train behind us,
So
at least audibly.
So there's witnesses.
There's witnesses, 2 witnesses to this, and I'm telling you now, I was freaked out. We didn't worry about being quiet arriving at this guy's party. We ran up the driveway at full speed,
Yeah.
terrified.
Well, we all hear stories about how people see things, but rarely do we hear stories about how people have heard things.
Yeah.
If you've heard something weird, tell us about it. When we come back, I'm going to talk about something a little special. Before the break, I said I'd talk about something special, and I'm not talking about my IQ. I'm talking about a real event that I actually witnessed and somebody else witnessed too. We were lying there and we were looking up at the sky, right? And in the sky, obviously, you've got the stars and clouds and all that sort of thing. But rarely do you get to see a satellite. But we saw a satellite, and it was moving across the sky, and we thought, wow, that's really weird. And, well, not weird, but I wasn't aware at the time that satellites were so low down that you could see them. Anyway, the satellite's traveling through the sky, and we were both looking at the same satellite. So get this, we were tracking it, and we were going, oh, that's really cool. But then we saw in the other direction, there was another satellite coming towards it. Now, we're talking head-on-head collision. And it was very, very weird. We're like, oh, this is going to be so cool. It's going to be like the Russians smashing into the Chinese. It's going to be hilarious. Because, you know, they're not going to know what's going on. But as they got closer, just before they were about to hit, one of the objects shifted out of the way and went around the other one. And I went, what was that? And the other guy I was with goes, did you see that? Did you see it? And I said, yeah, I saw it. He goes, what was that? That had to be a UFO. Could have been anything, really. Could have been, a plane, but still UFO unidentified. But I'm not saying it was alien at all. What I'm saying is it was very, very bizarre. So if you've had a bizarre sighting, not something you've heard, go to our Facebook, The Elegant Universe, and tell us about it. Welcome back to the Elegant Universe. This is Peter Gagliardi, and you're joined with special guest host
Shannon
Hill.
That's right.
We're going to talk about animals really, really quickly. And the thing about animals is weird animal experiences, because this show's about the weird, the wacky, the bizarre, the paranoid, the paranormal. And this is an experience I had. Once I was in the house, Shannon,
Yes.
and I was watching Jerry Springer. Nothing very paranormal about that.
Big surprise.
There is something wrong with the show, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is in this house were a couple of Siamese cats. Now, I'm not a big fan of Siamese cats, but they were Siamese cats. The cats usually kept to themselves, and I'm watching this show, and all of a sudden I hear... And I'm thinking, okay, that was the other side of the house. That's really weird. Maybe the cat's having a fight. So I ignored it, right? And then I hear... And I'm thinking, what the hell is that? So I look down the hallway, and this is not a joke, this is true. The cat's spider walking down the hallway, all the hair's up, the body's fully extended, you know, glazed over look, you know, like a serial killer?
Yeah.
This cat had a serial killer look, and it was looking dead at me. Dead at me. I moved my head, and it followed my head, but its body kept in the same position, walking towards me, and I went, okay, what's going on here? So I pretended like nothing was happening and went back to watching the TV. I just thought, whatever's going on, that cat obviously, you know, is going through some issues. But anyway, it walks down the hall, walks through the door, and looks me dead in the eyes. And I'm like, what's your problem? What is your problem, buddy? And it kept walking, and then it stopped, and this is a true story, and then it reversed exactly the same way it came back down the hall. It was the most bizarre thing I have ever experienced. Now, I've heard from people, could have been a ghost, could have been a spirit, could have been this, could have been that. I'm thinking that's a little bit of a bizarre scenario, you know what I mean? And I know cats do some weird things, but have you ever experienced a cat doing something like that?
I have experienced cats doing some pretty weird things.
Yeah, but anything you would say was paranormal?
Basically everything a cat does is pretty paranormal. But honestly though, I've never been able to deduce that it was a ghost or that it was a spiritual entity or anything like that.
Yeah, we would like some evidence. So if you're out there, listener, send us your evidence. We want to know. Go to the Elegant Universe on Facebook and tell us what your evidence is, or if you've got pictures, videos, send them in too. We'll be back after this. That's it for the show. Next week, we'll have our mysterious ex-girl in the studio with Shane, hopefully. Shannon, thank you for coming along. You've been a great host.
That's all right. My absolute and complete undeniable pleasure.
And we hope to see you in the future. If you're listening to the Elegant Universe, please go to our podcast and our YouTube. Stalk us on Facebook or do what you have to do. Also, remember this. Until next time, remain weird. Catch.
That wraps up another life-changing edition of the Elegant Universe.
Thanks for being part of the action. We love you.
Wherever you go in this great, big, wide, wonderful world of ours, don't forget to tune in next time.
Catch.